Hi everyone and welcome to this class. Today's class will be about a small short story titled The Pot Maker by Temsila O. Let's talk something about the author or the writer of the short story. Now, the author of the short story is Temsila O. She is a very popular poet, short story writer, and ethnographer. Now, has been recognized as one of the most popular literary voices of not only of Nagaland but also of Northeast India. And something about her literary achievements. She is the recipient of the Padma Shri Award, the Meghalaya Government Gold Medal, and the very prestigious Sahitya Academy Award. Next, her literary output. Something about her literary career. As mentioned earlier, she is a very popular short story writer, ethnographer, and a poet. She has five anthologies of poetry. The first collection is titled The Songs That Tell, Songs That Try to Say, Songs of May Moods, Songs from Here and There, and Songs from the Other Life. These are her anthologies of poetry. Next, she has also published two short story collections, one of them titled These Hills Called Home. The full title of that short story collection is Stories from a War Zone, and the second short story collection is Laburnum for My Head. This is something about the writer Temsila O. Now, the short story Pot Maker. It's a very short story, as the name itself suggests, and she has very effectively written the story in a very lucid manner, and it has been included in her anthology or collection titled These Hills Called Home. Now, it is a story of a very young girl named Centilla who wants to learn pottery making, but her mother, Arunla, is very reluctant to pass on the skills to her because her mother wants her to study weaving. She wants her to learn weaving because weaving is a very lucrative job, unlike pottery making. It is a story of Centilla who wants to be a pot maker like her mother Arunla, and Arunla, since she is reluctant to pass on the skills or teach her daughter Centilla the skills of pot making, she is so determined. Centilla is so determined to learn the art of pot making that she somehow learns it despite her mother's refusal to pass on the art to her. Now, the reason why Arunla is reluctant is to pass on the traditional knowledge of pot making to her daughter is because she thinks that it is a very she thinks because she thinks that weaving is more lucrative than pottery making, and she wants her to become a weaver. Centilla is determined to become a pot maker and seeks the assistance of other elderly women of the tribe. Centilla is so determined that she wants to learn pot making. Pot making is her passion and she wants to follow that passion. But however, since she doesn't get much help from her mother initially, she seeks the help of the assistance or the help of elderly women in her village. The village council comes to know about her visiting the elderly women without her clandestine visit to the elderly women in the village, and he summons her father Mesoba, and he sides with the aspirations of the girl, and instructs his wife Arilla to teach her the art of pottery making. Now, as mentioned earlier, the village council summons Sentila's father, Mesoba, another major character of the film. So I stand corrected, that is the major character of the short story, as we all know, the pot maker. Now, he is made to instruct his wife to teach Sentila the art of pottery making. Now, Arinla is initially very adamant of not teaching and of not wanting to teach her daughter pottery making, and then she becomes very uncooperative. She does because she doesn't want her daughter to learn pottery making, and she wanted to see her fail over and over again. Now, when Centilla attains puberty, it is required that she stays away from the house and she stays in the girls' dormitory at night. Now there she comes across a supervisor, and that lady teaches her a few skills to develop her skills of pottery making. Now, when she returns from home, as in from the when she returns from home, she observes her mother's pot making is closely, more closely, and thus picks up a few skill. Now, Centilla is so determined to learn pot making that when she returns from the dormitory, she observes her mother making more and more pots, and she observes them very carefully in such a way that she picks up a few skills. Her mother tries to supervise her, and initially, though she was reluctant and very uncooperative, she leaves her to finish making the pots alone. Now, Sentler initially was very unsuccessful. Her initial attempts were very unsuccessful, and she wanted to give up, but she never did. So, as Sentler makes those pots, it looked as if somebody else had helped her and helped her to create those perfect pots. She tried over and over again. Her initial attempts were very unsuccessful. After she tried, she attained perfection, and it looked as though somebody else made the pots, and she achieved perfection by preparing those pots. Now, when she finishes, she returns to her house to find her mother dead. After there was a shed next to the house, and after she finishes making those pots, she returns to her house just to see her mother dead. After the funeral, when the supervisor visits the shed where Centilla made the pots, she finds it impossible to distinguish between the daughter's and the mother's pots. So as mentioned earlier, after the cremation of Centilla's mother, Arenla, the supervisor visits the shed where Centilla was making those pots, and the pots were so perfect that the pots were so perfect which Centilla made that the supervisor was unable to distinguish between the perfectly made pots, distinguish between the pots made by the mother, that's Arella, and the daughter, Centilla. Thus, a new pot maker was born. Now, this story, The Pot Maker, through this story, the writer Temsila O tries to show the importance of passing on traditional skills and customs to the new or the next generation. As in, she highlights the importance of passing on the skills of be it ancient or the traditional skills and customs to the next generation. Now, according to Temsila, the tribal value system should place collective good over individual interest. Tribal value systems are more important over collective good. They place collective good over individual interest, as shown in this story. That's it for this class. Thank you so much.